Hi everyone and welcome to Pro Audio Talk. My name is Peter Muller and I'm a mixing and mastering engineer based in Germany, Europe. Pro Audio Talk is a new series on my YouTube channel where I talk about current subjects in the pro audio world with summarized facts and my honest opinion. Real talk, as we say nowadays. Today's question is, do artists need professional mixing and mastering? Let's find out. Welcome back. When I started to make music in the early 80s, it was impossible for most people to afford a studio at home that potentially could produce results on the industry level. You maybe could afford a 4 or 8-track cassette recorder to capture your ideas and produce a little demo. When it was interesting for a record company, they would send you to a professional studio to record it again on a professional level and get it mixed and mastered by professional engineers. With the transition to digital audio, the temptation to omit the professional audio engineering part and jump right from home recording to release is huge. That's because most audio interfaces, microphones and other parts of the recording chain deliver a decent quality even at a very affordable price point these days. There is no need to buy an expensive hardware console, for example. Some people claim that a laptop and a pair of decent headphones is enough to release your music and even become a star. So the audio software industry found a new target in musicians who would like to save the budget on professional mixing and mastering and instead sell software to them which, at least that's what they say, does not require in-depth knowledge about mixing and mastering. The message is, with presets and so-called AI self-learning software, you are just some clicks away from your release. But is this really true or just clever marketing? Can you really skip the professional expertise when it comes to a release that quality-wise can compete with all the successful music in the charts, for example? The answer is a clear no. I understand the hope that artists have that it's possible to skip parts of the professional music production process because everyone's on a tight budget. But I tell you something, musicians were always on a tight budget. Even 30-40 years ago, before digital was taking over, it was always just a few superstars that had a big budget from the major record companies. Negotiating was always part of the game. But back to the question, let's find out why you can't skip expertise in audio. With all the possibilities we have nowadays by working in the digital domain, especially software companies claim that it has never been easier to record, mix, master your music on your own. From a marketing point of view, it is what they have to say because they want to sell something to you. But the truth is the opposite. While back in the day there were only vinyl and tape and later on the CD, we now have multiple digital and physical formats to deliver music in. You have streaming platforms, you have high quality digital audio, CD, and currently we are seeing the comeback of vinyl. All these different formats need to be treated in a different way when it comes to mastering, and there are even certain things to consider while mixing. Lately another format showed up, which is spatial audio or Dolby Atmos. We don't know how popular this is going to be, but all these formats came to stay, and we will even see new ways of listening to music coming up in the future. A professional mixing or mastering engineer has to constantly update his knowledge about the developments in the production of audio material that can be competitive on the music market. These professions take some serious skills to master. The engineers that you'll be sending your tracks to will have spent thousands of hours behind their mixing desk and will be able to get you that radio-ready sound everyone is looking for. The artist on the other side has to wear too many hats nowadays. You have to master playing your instrument or sing on a high level, compose and arrange your music. When you're an independent artist without a record deal, which is the case for most of the artists today, you have to organize marketing, touring, etc. And now artists are being told that they can record, mix and master their own music as well? This is simply not realistic. And it's also uncommon when you look at the relevant music people are listening to. Successful music on the charts, for example, music that you hear on the radio. There is literally no track playing there which hasn't been professionally mixed and mastered. Established artists don't go the I'll do it all myself way. They always have a network of professional people, where everyone is highly specialized in his own area. And if you want to join the club, your music has to compete sound-wise with these releases. Great sound is nothing without a great song, but it can be all if the music is great because the sound is an important part of what people connect to. Let's check out a quote on this subject. The sonic character of a piece of music and the technology that delivers it are formative aspects of a first-time listening experience. It influences how you will recall that initial experience in years to come. This element is part of the sensory experience that shapes and enhances your emotional connection to all music. This is a quote by Michael Beinhorn, which he posted on his Facebook page. Beinhorn is a famous American music producer. You can Google his name and check his bio and all the big names he has worked with. You could say that the sound is like a vehicle, if you will, that delivers the content, which is the music, into your ears and into your soul. Bad sound kind of interrupts the transport and you lose connection. A few seconds can decide about if the song works for the listener or not. But let's continue to find out why the assumption that artists and bands could mix and master their music by themselves is unrealistic. I didn't mention the word to record, and this is for a reason. What professional audio people notice, and myself too, is that we get confronted with self-recorded material in our everyday studio work. There's a lot that can go wrong if you record yourself, but there are musicians capable of recording at least a clean, neutral signal that can be used in the post-processing and mixing stage. In my opinion, recording is the only step in the music production process that everybody can learn to some extent. Don't get me wrong, a skilled audio engineer is able to record the signal in a way where it doesn't need a lot of post-production. But in the everyday studio life, we get to mix more music that has been self-recorded than before. I'm down with this as long as the file is clean and neutral sounding, so it cannot impair the sound of the mix. But when it comes to mixing and mastering, most professional and ambitious artists or groups hire a professional engineer to do the work, because they want to produce competitive material which will sound-wise survive in any listening situation. One important aspect is that mixing and mastering, compared to recording, is not something everybody can learn, even if he or she tries hard. To learn the technical steps of the mixing and mastering process doesn't necessarily mean that you are able to create an outstanding mix or master. It's a form of art on its own which requires a special talent. It has a lot to do with a strong perception and imagination of sound in general, with the ability for critical listening and the talent to decide which parts of the song should be highlighted and focused on. A mixing engineer might be able to bring new possibilities to a song that you would not thought of. That means that not everybody is born to mix and master. The number one statement I hear from artists and bands who nevertheless want to mix their own music is, "I don't know when my mix is finished." And this is a crucial point. Is it good enough? Can I put it to bed, or does it need more work? Or did I miss the point because I got used to mistakes in the song and already hear them as a part of it? It's not enough to be a skilled musician to be able to make the right mixing decisions. This is proven by the fact that the mixing and mastering scene is relatively small compared to the huge music scene. If you research the names that stand behind famous artists and the tracks in the charts, you will find the same names over and over again. But even in your local music scene, you will find out that the best sounding music always comes from the same few people. And what's up with the new AI software possibilities? Quite a few software companies came up with a one-knob or one-click software and claim that it can mix your music in a professional way. Its algorithm is checking dynamic range, transients, or the frequency range, for example. Then you can switch between a few modes and that's it. Other programs offer a choice of presets after they analyze the audio file. I've checked some of the stuff, and most of the time the software came up with not very persuading results. The problem with individual tracks sounding okay is that most of the time they don't relate correctly to the other instruments in the mix. That's probably the first thing you learn if you study at an academy for audio engineers, or if you self-learn and find out by yourself. Never solo each track and make them sound as good as possible. It will not relate correctly in the big picture of the song. You need to make space for each instrument, and when you solo the track, it will not necessarily sound great on its own. It needs to sound right in the mix. And this is what you have to know as a professional audio engineer. A software can only make you suggestions. It will come up with something and you still need to decide. Let's remember the number one sentence I hear. I don't know when my mix is finished. The AI software also doesn't know when your mix is finished. You are in charge. You decide. And if you don't know what to decide, it's completely useless. All of the visual feedback, for example, in mastering, if the frequency range or loudness of the track is in a normal range or not. But what is normal? There are countless examples of tracks that became hits and had something really unusual in their frequency spectrum. Very loud bass, super fresh highs, super distorted, amazingly loud with almost no dynamics, or very quiet, how the music used to be before the loudness war. We all know the hits from back in the day, and they are still spinning and people love them. So the result of what an AI software might suggest is what I would call absolutely generic. And what do we want? That everything sounds the same? As I said, a skilled engineer is looking for that special thing in your music to highlight and to focus on. Professional mixing or mastering engineers don't need AI software or presets. They know how to set each parameter of a compressor, limiter, EQ, reverb, etc. manually, and exactly know the effect this decision has on the track. Mixing and mastering is about making the right decisions. Everything else is just tools. Our tools are changing, new developments come and go, but in the end it comes back to expertise and skills. And this is what you find when you hire a professional mixing and mastering engineer. That's it for now. If this video was useful for you, please check out my other videos and subscribe to my channel and get notified when I upload the next one. You are also welcome to leave a comment below. Let me know your opinion or ask any question related to the subject. See you next time.